Of course, now we get all the predictable comments of like, wow, so the Israelis are really lizards and the Jews are, I mean, maybe there is like a really a consistent problem with them. So I must comment on this kind of like, I mean, trend. First of all, you should not speak at all. You should run to Israel, run! This is first. And second, I've said it so many times, but it's so important, so I will say it again and again and again, like in the 100th time. Until May 2019, I was certain that I'm Homo sapiens, and that, I mean, there is nothing special about my life. I had no reason to suspect, I mean, I had a lot of reasons, many reasons to suspect otherwise, but like in kind of like a paradigmatic change, I mean, you know, the evidence accumulated until, I mean, you reach a breakpoint to say that, I mean, yeah, we cannot continue, like, I mean, to act like, I mean, as if everything is normal with our life. And thus began our journey of discovery. It was May 2019, a day after I was released from hospital, after I fainted in the workplace. I mean, due to poisoning, but also severe psychological kind of pressure. And then the journey began. And it's more than 4 years, and I've discovered so many things. I mean, amazing things about history, life, religion, the solar system, biology. I mean, astronomy, humans, sentient beings. But it should be stated again and again and again. The first thing that I understood was that the Israeli intelligence is following me for a long time now. This was the break point. Like when I understood, when I had like evidence that it must be the case, this was like the I mean, you know, the queen of the evidence. Like, I mean, that I mean, I cannot like continue, I mean, behave as if things are normal, because no, the Israeli intelligence is, they follow me for many years, and I need to understand what's going on with my life. And I understood immediately it's not something that I've done, but it's something that is in my nature, because I haven't done it. I was the straightest person on earth. Like, I mean, everything was so straight about me. And at the same day, it was the first day of the journey that takes place for more than 4 years, and it's a very intensive journey. And I mean, metaphorically, I've reached like, I mean, you know, the subatomic level and the galactic level, and I mean, the past and the future, and you know, I've dined with angels and cherubs, and also with the scum of the earth. But on the very same day, I reached immediate conclusions that I was 100% certain about these conclusions. And of course, I mean, I didn't change my mind since then, because they were obvious consequences of the first tenet, which is the fact that the Israeli intelligence follows me, which I have evidence for that, and also analysis of past events in my life. And I've reached immediately, and I've said it many times, and I said it again, immediately I've reached the following conclusion. First, that there is strong, I mean, association between the Israeli intelligence and the phenomenon of homosexuality and pedophilia, and perhaps it's like that outside of Israel as well. I mean, that was the conclusion. Now I know that yes, this is indeed the situation, but not all over the world, and not to the same extent. But I mean, this is, I mean, it's evident from so many things that I've seen in my life, that I mean, that there is strong association between being part of Israeli intelligence and the phenomenon of homosexuality and pedophilia. Second, and more important to our discussion, I understood that the Israelis are testing me. I mean, I didn't, like, at the time, of course, I didn't know the term to paint. Like, you use like many times, you use the term to paint or to die. but of course I didn't know, like I didn't any of the terminology, but I understood. I mean, my conceptual, I understood that. I mean, they are kind of like presumably testing me and failing me with the help of like fake videos that they produce, and that they are doing it for a long time now. And these videos and this kind of like false test, or like me kind of like presumably failing in sort of like test of character, not like testing in university, test of character, and those videos and these failures in the test of character is something that I'm accompanied me for many years. And also I understood that the clients for this is kind of like a show, a charade, and so it must have a client, and the client must be foreign intelligence services. Even though since then I understood that actually the picture is much more complicated, and it's not only, it's true, I mean, they are the major clients for this kind of like dying project or painting project, but they're not only clients, because there are also internal clients. But immediately I understood that there must be like foreign intelligence services that are the clients for this painting project. And I also understood all of this at the same day. It was a day in May. I can look up in the schedule. In the calendar, and it was 2 days after I was released from Ichilov. Like after, so it is all. I can tell you the exact day, but it was like 5 days before Shavuot in 2019. And I also understood immediately that these intelligence services, the foreign intelligence services, the fact that they believe this, of course they believe these videos and this painting project, because if they weren't, why is it going on for many years? Why haven't it stopped? And I understood that they believe it for many years because they want it to be true, and that this painting project first doesn't make sense internally, like like the story, the narrative of the Israeli president doesn't make sense logically, and also that it's the most simple thing in the world to actually gather evidence. It's not time. You don't like need like a Mission Impossible team or James Bond or Jason Bourne or whatever. James Bond or I'm just like I'm such a simple person. Nothing was secretive about my life. I lived in Tel Aviv and then in Jerusalem. I worked like in IT companies. I'm studying the Hebrew University. Everything was so straight, so and served like as an officer in the military. It was so easy, and I was never shy. I was spoken and I wrote like online and not online. Also, I've always written stuff and spoke to people. So understand that this, both like from the internal perspective and all, the narrative cannot like make sense, but also that it's the easiest thing in the world for any intelligence services, as backward as it might be, to just gather the evidence that will demonstrably show that the Israelis are lying about me. And the fact that they do not do it, and we know that they do not do it because this project takes place for so many years, is due to the fact that they want to believe, they want the picture, the false and evil picture, to be true. All of this I understood at the same day, like almost as immediate like train of thought. And I didn't know why do they want to believe it, but I had an initial hypothesis right from the start that there are actually two aspects of this kind of supporting like tenets for this behavior. One which relies, and I was correct, one which presumably relies on my nature, and it's more related to how these people are, imagine themselves. So this kind of explanation should be in the realm of psychology and religion and philosophy. and that there is most probably another tenet which is material, that they get material gain from believing in this, from the consequence of believing in this picture. Now, the second, like, I was correct, but I mean, it took me years to understand the mechanism behind, like, the material gain, because I had to discover so much stuff. I didn't know nothing about, Titans, tea, and all of that. I mean, I knew nothing about it. So I mean, this was like, I mean, I was alone all the time. Like, I just me and God, like, just me and God. I mean, I couldn't speak to anyone. So it was a long process, but eventually I understood the material tenet of this, of why they want to believe that it's true. But regarding the first tenet, the psychological one and the religious one, it's actually incredibly simple. I cannot say that I understood it immediately, like at the same day. It took me some time to understand it, but it's actually incredibly simple. And the explanation, I mean, the philosophical, psychological, religious tenet of this behavior of them, the intelligence services of this world, they want to believe this manifestly false and evil picture. The explanation is extremely simple, and it's the following: you knew exactly who I am. You knew it very well, all of you. Probably from the day you've heard about me, and maybe some of you since the day I was born. You, whoever you are, in the United States, in Russia, in Great Britain, wherever, you knew exactly who I am. You knew exactly who I am. Of course, I didn't know it, and of course, I couldn't, like, reach such a conclusion, like, I mean, on the first day. But I was right. I mean, my suspicion is that, yes, there are two tenets here to this behavior. The material one, which took me a lot of time to understand, because it required like a lot of background to uncover from the ground, and the philosophical, religious, psychological one. You knew exactly who I am. All of you. Certainly the Israelis, certainly the Americans, certainly the Russians. You knew who I am. And because of the fact that all of you, not all of you, but the strong ones, in addition to the Israelis, the strong ones of you are predominantly pedophiles and homosexuals. Directly because of that fact, you had an incredibly strong psychological inclination to believe that the Son of God is a disgusting pervert. This is reality. So now you speak about the Israelis, that they are lizards and snakes and liars, and the Jews that are money grabbers. Well, of course it's true. Of course. But on the first day of this journey, I immediately understood that this torture couldn't have taken place if only the intelligence services of this world, strong ones, wouldn't decided to believe in something that was manifestly wrong, but they decided to believe in it. It was manifestly wrong, and they had all the reason in the world to not believe it, but they decided to believe in it, and because of this decision, this torture that takes place for so many years, and it's only getting worse, was possible.